Hello, Bulldog Nation. I hope this week's message continues to find each of you well. We're nearing the home stretch of this year's distance learning efforts, and as always, I want to thank each of you for partnering with us to ensure that all of our students continue to learn and progress. Last week, I excitedly sent out my weekly message in reaction to Governor Murphy's shared decision to allow in-person graduation ceremonies for our Bulldog seniors. It was all we had hoped would occur as a learning community. In my haste and excitement, I did not realize that 24 hours later, a set of guidelines and regulations would accompany this announcement, which are, to say the least, extremely restrictive. I want to share what these restrictions would look like for us if we were to attempt to move forward with an in-person graduation. If the current guidelines were to remain in place, we would be limited to 25 people in attendance. That would look like this: myself as superintendent, Mr. Fitzgerald as principal, Mr. Benson as assistant principal, 2 police officers for crowd control, parking, and assistance, limited to 5 staff members to help us with tickets, crowd control, restroom. Once we add those people together, it would allow us to have 5 graduates at each ceremony, as each graduate would also be able to invite 2 people. That combined would limit us to the 25 that we were allowed to have. In order to do this, we would need to host 24 individual in-person graduation ceremonies. Each ceremony is approximately 1 hour in length, so we're looking at 24 hours. If we were to add 30 minutes for people arriving and 30 minutes for people exiting, that would be another 24 hours. And then the regulations that we were given from the governor also state that we must sanitize all seating areas and restrooms between ceremonies, which conservatively would be another hour for each ceremony. So if we looked at 24 individual graduation ceremonies delineated out in alphabetical order, each ceremony being a minimum of 3 hours apiece, it would take us approximately 72 hours to complete all of these ceremonies. If we were to try to push it and host 3 ceremonies a day, this would equate to 8 full days or 2 full weeks to complete over the summer. Realistically, we would most likely only be able to host 2 ceremonies a day, which would bring us to 3 weeks to complete the effort. If the guidelines are adjusted to increase and allow a limit of 50 people, this would mean the same 3 school officials, 2 police officers. We would need to increase the amount of staff members that would be in assistance to 8. That would equal 11 graduates at a time. If we had 11 graduates, it would be 14 individual ceremonies that we would need to host, which would take us 7 days to complete. If the state relaxes the limit to 100 people in attendance, again, 3 officials, 2 police officers, we would have to up that to 15 staff members for assistance. It would allow us to have 26 graduates at a time. At that point, we would have to host 5 individual ceremonies. In all 3 scenarios, the unfortunate reality is that we would not be able to accomplish what our students and families truly desire: a graduation where the class of 2020 is all together for one last time, celebrating their accomplishments. As such, the Butler School District will be making a final determination on June 12, 2020 regarding our plans for an in-person graduation. And as a district, we have decided that if we cannot celebrate all of our students together in one ceremony, that we will not move forward with smaller individual in-person ceremonies, as they will not bring about the moments that we were all hoping for. Making this decision on this date will allow for families to plan to make the most of our virtual ceremony that remains scheduled for June 19th, as well as the parade prior to that ceremony if they choose to participate. I truly believe that as a district, we have worked hard to celebrate our students in many varied ways, demonstrating to them just how much we care for them, how much we miss them, and how we wish things were not as they are. Some of these efforts include, but are not limited to, lawn sign deliveries, virtual ceremonies, individual graduation pictures for every senior in their caps and gowns that we will make available to all parents, with all costs being assumed by the district. Parade through town, senior spotlight on social media highlighting our students and their next paths in life. Our senior athlete spotlights from our coaches using the Gipper software. The class of 2020 billboard on Route 23. Every member of the class of 2020 will have a banner created and hung around Smith Field with all costs assumed by the district to honor them. We participated in Light Up the Night, a senior athletic tribute on May 20 to honor our senior spring athletes. Senior capstone projects to honor those senior students who attain blue and gold privileges. Virtual concerts to highlight the musical talents of our students. We continue to host our athletic awards and our academic scholarship awards, albeit virtually. And we work with members of our community to honor our graduates through the Adopt a Senior effort. As I've shared with you multiple times prior, I understand the disappointment that this news will bring, as well as all that has been lost or altered due to the pandemic for the graduating class of 2020, as my son Matthew is a member of that class of 2020. I know how much these students have lost out on, and I understand the emotions that accompany each lost opportunity. Nothing I can say or nothing I can plan will ever be able to fully replace any of these for our students. I'm deeply saddened by this, as I find myself and pride in myself on being there for our students and their families and trying to find a way, when faced with any and all obstacles, to make things happen. But I also know that as a learning community, we will band together and get through this. We will do so with pride in being a Bulldog and the resilience it takes to teach our students about how to deal with life's obstacles and overcome them, forging forward. One of the things I love about Butler is the tenacity to come out ahead that is ingrained in everything we do. And we will do so in this and every situation moving forward. That's why we say it takes more to be a Bulldog. Be well, everybody.